That's the doorbell at Jimmy's house. Now, when you come to my house, my doorbell sounds like this.
Hey, welcome to the People's Weekly. It's not really weekly anymore, but we're getting back to that soon. What's up, Glenn?
Welcome to the People's Occasionally.
There you go. We need to change the name until we get back to the weekly. But no, we haven't been on the weekly. We said this before, just scheduling conflicts with everybody. And Nolan's been kind of sick lately, so he hasn't been here, so everything is kind of like slow. But we'll be back. We're hoping right after all this union stuff is done, we'll be back starting sometime in May, like constant, all the time, a couple shows a week, even if it's just the People's Manifesto. But that's what's happening. So today we're going to talk about a whole lot of stuff, but the coronavirus, COVID-19 or whatever it's called, and the lackluster response from the U.S. government. That's about it for today's show. It's going to be a short show because I started sniffling and I'm all coughing and stuff. But it's most likely because I was walking in the rain and cold the other night and I was soaking wet, and then I came inside and turned on a fan like an idiot. So that sometimes does it. What's been up with you, Glenn? How's Canada doing?
Well, I have been back to full-time work for, 6 weeks now. Getting old sucks. I've been sore constantly. This never used to happen, but apparently now, just welcome. You have entered the next phase, which is called the steady decline. So,
getting old's awesome. Working sucks.
Well, perhaps, but it's pretty hard to have one without the other. Up here, we're back to winter for the weekend only. That's the way it usually works. In late winter up here, early spring, you get teased during the week when you're, committed to something else all day long for 5 days. And then when you have a weekend, it's like, yeah, well, no, we're going to go back to, well, let's see, to convert it for you today here, it is about 0 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
And for the last 10 out of the last 14 days, it's been more like 30 to 40 Fahrenheit. So just for the weekend, though. And tomorrow we'll be back to about 30 degrees Fahrenheit.
Damn. Well, let's get all this other stuff out the way real quick before we get into the virus and all that and everything. So, are you being sponsored by somebody special today, Glenn?
Today's sponsor is Maui Wowie.
Nice. You had that sponsor before. My sponsors for today is Burning Cookies and Pink Mimosa Wax.
Outstanding.
Yeah, the Burning Cookies is flour. It's really nice. It's I don't know. It's awesome. But yeah, I'm all sniffly because of my stupidity. It hasn't gotten worse, so I don't think I need to worry too much. But
it's not too often that I have a dominantly sativa sponsor. But yeah, it's a change. It's a change.
It's a daytime sponsor. I know people that smoke sativas in the day and indicas at night. Celeb Scolders in here. What's up? Welcome back. They've been gone for like a year offline. So glad to have you back. Yeah. Oh yeah, real quick, man. Today, you know what happened today? I'm starting to get all these weird tweets and they're not making sense to me, you know what I'm saying? And hang on, my mic's weird. Sorry for the noise. No, so it's all like, you racist scum, why you hate Chinese people, and yeah, building a wall won't keep out Chinese people. It turns out some damn YouTuber didn't do any research, just kind of searched terms on Twitter and then found tweets they deemed as racist and then put them on his channel. There's a big gamer channel or something, which I commend her on talking shit about racist, but do a little research. Like, the next tweet next to that one was like, if you have any questions, it's because I hate MAGAs and their stupidity, and they retweet my stuff sometimes when I put these words in it, and their stupidity amuses me or something. But that tweet wasn't included. So they played my tweet, and she's like, I'm not even going to comment on this one. Yeah, like, you know, that was kind of the joke. Like, MAGAs are so stupid, they think that building a wall on the border of Mexico will keep out Chinese people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The joke was their racism, just mocking them, but I've had a lot of people, but it's cool because some of these people, I talked to them and then we followed each other, and I got some new anti-racist friends out of this. And I've had a bunch of MAGAs or just racist following me. So I just been soft blocking them real quick.
Bizarre.
When I said they didn't see the problem with ICE arresting people at hospitals during this coronavirus thing.
Was that
like, wow.
Was that tweet in English or German?
It was in German, I think, or Russian or something. It was another language. It wasn't English. I translated it. That's how I knew. What?
Yeah, well, that figures. I mean, you know, it was normal practice for the Geheitsstaatspolizei to just, you know, go into any building they deemed.
Oh, you were being sarcastic. You were being sarcastic. No, but the tweet was from a Russian or German, like some other language account. I thought you had seen the tweet and were asking me. You were just being sarcastic, like what a Nazi scumfuck they were.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, wait, we got some stuff going on here. Celeb said they're glad to be back. Awesome to hear our voices again. And Glenn said ahoy, and they said LOL. And if anyone else knows anything else, just log in and check the chat. PeoplesRadioUnited.com. If you're listening just from the YouTube thing, you could go to Spreaker and log in and get an account, follow us. And follow our YouTube channel. We got a bunch of Nazis just attacking every video we put out, saying they got to get us banned because of the police stuff. You know, fuck the police. If I want to talk shit about the police, that's what first. And these are probably the same motherfuckers talking about First Amendment, right? Absolute. But it doesn't pertain to me talking shit about the government. It's only them screaming racist bullshit, you know?
Well,
So,
I've always found that there's a huge lack of understanding of what the First Amendment actually protects citizens from. It's from the government. That's about it. You know, it just, all the First Amendment says is that the government can't do this against expression, press, etc. That's it. But when it's private groups or organizations or shit like that, it's a whole different ballgame. And these right-wing people just can't figure it out that it's the same for everybody. They don't like that. They only want to claim constitutional violations when it helps them. But when they want to do it to other people, that's okay too. You know, there's no fucking sense with these people.
yeah, I got white supremacists reporting my videos on a daily basis saying, we're going to get your whole account taken down, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, meanwhile,
us
you go to their
fuck off.
page. Meanwhile, you go to their page and they probably got a link to Daily Stormer. So, yeah, okay.
Yeah, all of them just have liked racist videos pretty much, or just makeup videos or car videos with the racist stuff mixed in once in a while. And they don't even publish their own videos. They're just like subscribers on YouTube to comment bullshit on, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever. Every one of them tell me to get a life. Why don't they get a life? They don't want commenting on the videos they hate so much. You have no life other than to watch videos you hate on a channel you hate and then talk shit about it. But thanks for the view, asshole.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact I'm not monetized and probably never will be, even if I get 1,000 subscribers, I just want that to live stream. They can keep their fucking bullshit Scientology ads and all that. Yeah, I still wouldn't monetize, so YouTube doesn't give a shit what I'm doing. I'm not making them any money. They're just so ridiculous. They only got the balls to do this online. Yeah, that's real. That's real. When they're not online, they got to come with weapons and groups around one person. They can't come, you know, one-on-one ever.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
I mean,
go ahead.
No, the last word on that, mob mentality requires mob. There's no such thing as an individual in mob mentality.
Yeah, that's true. Individuality is so important. It's what makes everybody great. But, well, it could make everybody great. Some people are just assholes. But yeah, on to the coronavirus. Yeah, it's like the death toll seems crazy high because they haven't done any testing. You know what I mean? They've done so few tests. The death toll we have looks higher than it could. So I don't even understand that. Like, how does that make anybody look good? They say Trump's keeping the numbers low. If the numbers are low and people have a death toll that keeps getting higher, wouldn't it be better to say out of a huge amount of people, only this number died instead of this number died out of a tiny, you know what I mean? I'm just going by what all these other media channels are saying, and it makes no sense, that logic.
Well, I've always found that this is the case when there's some sort of completely unexpected circumstance that nobody is prepared for. All these media outlets want to find their own little quirk so they can create revenue off it. You know, this is one of those things that they don't all want to say the same thing, because then it's just survival of the fittest. The biggest platforms will get the most views if everybody's saying the same thing. So, you know, this is a very, very big deal, which in the quote unquote media world means there's a lot of money to be made off this situation. So they are all looking for their specific little angle, their niche market in this story to make money. You know, that's the most important part about it to them. Growing their business, not supplying truth, helping the public. It's about growing their business by using what's going to be happening. So
it's brilliant, though.
Well,
that they got people out there like going shopping insanely to buy everything they can and hoard all these supplies. And I hope some of those people are helping their communities. If you got 800 rolls of toilet paper in your garage, you better be handing them out when the time hits and people need them, or someone will come and just take them, you know, because you don't hoard that shit. But whatever.
I have absolutely no comprehension of this entire toilet paper fetish behavior at all. It makes absolutely no sense.
Makes perfect sense, dude, because when the apocalypse happens, you can use it for clothes, for bedding. You can use it for everything. No, I'm just kidding. But the thing is, yeah, it's ridiculous. But like if you're hoarding like medical supplies and masks and sanitizers and, you know, stuff that's like that people are going to need, water, you best be fucking handing that out, because that's just some bullshit. You're going to let people die because you got what they need and won't give it up. And you got in crazy excess, you know. Some people are taking a few, you know, a couple packs of this or that to last a couple weeks. That makes sense. But there's some people that are loading up truckloads of this shit. They're building like a bunker or something. I don't know what they're doing with all this shit.
Well, I mean, it depends on the people you're talking about, though. I mean, there's a lot of people out there. I don't want to, focus on any one group or generation of people who seem to have a proclivity to this sort of behavior, millennials. But, there's a story up here in Canada about a couple in Vancouver who, for the last 3 weeks, every morning, have been basically storming every Costco in the lower BC mainland and buying them out of Lysol wipes. Every day. They've spent something like $70,000 buying all this stock. But then what they're doing with it is turning around and selling it on Amazon for up to 20 times what they paid for it.
That should be illegal.
Absolutely, it should be illegal. I mean, that is exactly what price gouging and disaster capitalism is based on.
Yeah, I think if the shit do hit the fan, people with guns need to show up at their house and show them like this belong to the people, not to you. Sorry, you wasted all that money on some bullshit, but we need it and we ain't paying for it. Because when the shit hits a fan or stuff's in stores, it's getting took out. I'm talking about any disaster. I don't care what it is. It doesn't have to be this virus. It could be a tornado, an earthquake, something major that affects a lot of people. They're going to get what they need one way or another. Why not share? Why not say these people in the community need this the most? We'll give them that. Everybody has what they need instead of one person hoarding it. It's ridiculous. We got to ride together on shit. People don't get this. It's ridiculous. People are saying, oh my God, homeless people are going to spread this all around. What the fuck? Think about this logically. The shit is a disease rich people are going to get quicker than poor people because poor people ain't jumping on planes and going all around the world outside of the original place where it spread. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor people ain't jumping on planes and flying all over. Look who got it. Tom Hanks, those basketball guys, people in the government, Mar-a-Lago people, it's a rich person's disease. You want to the spread of it is because of rich people. So you want to call it all this shit, call it a rich person's disease, because that's how diseases spread when they go across nations. It's not usually the poor people bring it. Some poor people cross, you know what I mean? But it's not the norm. The people flying on a daily basis ain't the poor people. Sophie
Gregoire Trudeau has COVID. So there you go. And she just came back from London, England. So surprise, surprise. But
isn't her brilliant husband quarantined as well?
He has self-quarantined, yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, I heard about that.
Which,
yeah, but that's my rich people.
Yeah. And which is a inconvenience, quote unquote. But he doesn't have to go to work for 2 weeks. So hey, no problem. This is fucking cool. But we have adjourned our Houses of Parliament for a while anyway. I mean, it's a lot more measures are being taken in Canada than are being taken in the United States, without a doubt. But then again, if you go back, a lot of people are comparing this to the SARS outbreak, which, is getting close to 2 decades ago now. And Toronto was one of the hardest hit places on the planet for SARS. And it's also where the cure came from. And there is a institute connected to the University of Toronto that already has a preliminary vaccine for COVID. And they're moving as fast as they can. So, our government in Ottawa has shut down for, I think it's 5 weeks. In the province of Ontario, all schools will be having their spring break very shortly. They're adding 2 weeks onto that spring break. So all schools in Ontario will be closed for close to a month in a couple weeks. So there are some hard decisions being made up here, but, you know, most of it is being driven, unfortunately, in my opinion, as usual. It's not really about the human cost. These measures aren't being taken because the amount of lives it could theoretically save. It's because it's a money issue. And when you see entire sports leagues suspending operations, and this is their peak money-making season coming, the playoffs, going to the championship, this is when they make their money, and they're shutting down. So that tells you that there is a serious risk out there, but they're not basing it on a people cost, they're basing it on a money cost. And I think the best motivator for there to be a vaccine found, unfortunately, is going to be the money side of it, not the people side. So, you know, and I mean, you talked about logically why this is not a poor people's disease. There's an article in The Guardian today, and it says that there are only 2 states out of 50 that have not reported a case. One of them, I don't think it's a surprise, Alaska. That's pretty isolated at all times. And the other one, which fits right in with what you said, West Virginia. And, you know, if you want to go by the conventional stereotype of West Virginia, yeah, they don't leave their state. So,
you know what they're going to say, though? They're going to be like, that's because God loves them because they're a MAGA country.
Okay, but, you know, I think there's a fair percentage of West Virginians that live their entire lives and don't even leave their county, never mind their state. So that may have something to do with it. But it's interesting that in the U.S., Washington State came out very early, and it is still one of the worst in the U.S. But then, you know, with the amount of traffic between there and China, you know, it makes sense. I'm wondering when people are going to get around to start looking at if it's been transported in shipping from China. And if any of that comes true, well, then there is no safe place, because China is the world's manufacturer these days, the Western world anyway. So, you know, it's probably going to get a lot worse. As far as even my job, I mean, I'm in construction. There are about 100 people that come together on that job site every day. And how many people do they contact outside that job? You know, do they have kids? Are they around their elderly parents? There's just, you know, it seems like more and more every day, it just kind of works itself into your head a little bit. Like even this last week, I've seen, you know, maybe 10 people from 3 or 4 different trades in an sort of open area, and one person coughs, and everybody stops and looks to see who coughed. A couple months ago,
that'd be me smoking the doobie.
You know, a couple months ago, nobody gave a shit. You know?
Yeah, but that's
whatever.
not true, because I don't like getting the flu because it kicks my PTSD up, man. When I see people sniffling and I get away from them. I always have. It's not just this. It's because, like, right now I'm just a little sick, but then my PTSD kicks up and it makes me just flip out. I can't breathe. You know, it's crazy. And that's just with any flu with me. That's how it works. So, yeah, there are some people like me who are like, carry sanitizer for these sneezy people and get away from them. And I just don't like being sick.
Well, that's legitimate. I understand that. And there actually are a couple workers on this job site I'm on that are wearing a half mask all the time They're not taking lunch in the designated lunchroom because there's too many people in there for them. And, I get it. But yeah, it has to be, limited. But what I'm saying is a few weeks ago, if there's somebody from another trade that you didn't work with, you don't even know their name, if they coughed on the other side of the room, it's of absolutely no concern at all. You wouldn't even look up. But now it's a different story. And the client that this project is for is the very large public university in the city. And they already sent their students home on their whole campus. There are 15,000 students at this university. And they said, everybody go home. And they get a big portion of their money from international students, an awful lot of whom had previously until now come from the People's Republic of China. A lot of them are Asian. So, this is going to have huge consequences. They could be out 50, 60, maybe even up to $80 million in revenue if all those foreign students don't come back. So that's what I mean, how money is going to be the driver in this. It doesn't matter how many people die. It's going to be about stopping the loss of revenue.
Yeah, in LA here, they've said, I'm not sure if it's 40 or 50 people gatherings. That's the most you can have. You're not really supposed to go over that. Yeah, let's be real though. It attacked China in first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it spread to a few places over there. But there's like 1.3 billion people in China, and I'm trying to look up right now how many cases they had. Not doing a great job of finding it.
Well, I mean, it's changing. Like it's changing more than once a day.
Here it is: 80,824 that they've registered, and worldwide has been 3,189. And China supposedly the cases are declining. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So out of that population, it wasn't like it just spread through everything real fast. They contained it quick. They were smarter than we are in the U.S.
Well,
when I say we, that's not you.
Yeah, but you have to understand, too, that the way things work in China, they were able to do what they did. I mean, can you imagine the American government completely fencing in cities the size of Philadelphia or San Francisco? And they
the
just
sad
say,
thing is, I can't imagine that for a long time. But no, I understand what you're saying. But yeah,
I mean, there are a lot of experts already that are saying we are seeing the results of China's mass quarantine operation, and they are extremely positive. They've probably done more to slow this down, give the medical world time to work on this. That was the best thing that could have possibly happened. And even now, when you do see stuff out of China with these huge cities that are ghost towns, but yet everybody's still there. They're just all inside and they stay there. I don't think you could ever do that in North America or even Western Europe. I just don't think people would obey. They wouldn't see the point, or they wouldn't care because, it ain't going to affect me. That same old shit.
Yeah. It's different here. You got people that are armed and don't want to be contained, but they don't care if other people are contained, which is odd to me. But it's just like, I don't know. We should be testing everybody. Anyone who wants a test should be able to get tested free.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense to me. Like people,
Well,
they're telling some people, oh, you need to be able not breathing to where you can barely say a whole sentence, and then you could come and get tested. It's ridiculous. What do you got to be a step before death before they'll test you? And then you got all these. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, I was going to say again, that just proves that everything is being decided based on monetary cost, not human cost. You know, that's another thing too. I mean, we're seeing it up here probably more than Americans are seeing it. And there are places like Australia where they have drive-throughs. You get swabbed, we know who you are, see ya. We'll let you know. And of course, that's a public healthcare delivery. In the US, I've seen reports that if you have insurance, you can get a test for between $100 and $600. That's with insurance. If you don't have insurance, it starts at $1,600. So there is no regard for the human cost. You only matter if you have what's really important, money. You know, it's insane. It's insane. Italy closed their borders. The first thing the Italian government did is say monthly bills are suspended. Nobody has to pay their utilities, their mortgages, until this is cleared up and people can go back to work. That's what a government is supposed to do with the power they have. Protect the population.
If they did that in the U.S., they'd say monthly bills are suspended. Nobody has to do anything. And then they'd say, oh, now you owe 3 or 4 months or a month or whatever extra. And now you know what I mean? They'll find a way to screw you and get their money, because in the U.S. it's all about money. People die from diseases and things that happen that they can cure because they don't have enough money for pay for medications or pay for the proper, you know what I mean, the surgeries they need, procedures, whatever.
Well,
every day people die because of that.
I think the reason that would never fly in the U.S. is because U.S. capitalism is based on revenue flow. That's it. You know, I mean, 3 or 4 months with no income would probably kill 3/4 of the businesses in the United States, because everybody is so maxed out on everything, even huge corporations. You know, they just use their market cap to grab up as much other shit as they possibly can. They don't care about building a solid foundation of their corporation. They just want to make it as big as possible, as quickly as possible. And there's no depth. So, you know, I've seen a few articles that say zero revenue for a lot of businesses, even if it's for a month, is a serious threat to their existence. That's just the way it works these days. And the Canadian government has taken some heat for immediately saying they're going to put $1 billion into a small business loan program, specifically over Corona. And then, of course, there are people saying, well, why don't they just give it to the workers who will not have a job? And the government's saying, we're going to do both. Yes, people deserve some wage replacement when suddenly, even if you're not sick, you can't go to work. So, yeah, people deserve that directly. But the government here is saying that we have to recognize that these employers, a lot of them, don't have the depth and the resources to survive this type of thing that nobody expected. So, you know, in the States, I don't think it's too easy to come out and say that. You know what I mean? But I mean, this is the same country that just gave $1.5 trillion to Wall Street because the stock market crashed. And the total student debt in the United States is $1.7 trillion. And politicians will insist to the end of time that there's no way America can afford to pay off that debt. But they can just give $1.5 trillion to Wall Street because the stock market took a shit. It's...
And 70 something billion every year to the military, and 3 point something billion every year to occupied Palestine. Yep. And how many billions go to all the people that attack, like the Saudis, you know what I mean? We give people so much money, so much in weapons and military use. It's ridiculous, man. It's insane.
Yeah, lots of money for people who don't need it.
But I'm saying they use that money to kill people. Why don't they help? They that's our money. We paid that money. We pay taxes, and they take it and fund the military to go all around the world and slaughter people. So they're paying for death, and people here are dying. Why not pay for life and get us some stuff we need?
Yeah.
We can't even get public transportation for free, man. We can't even get clean, free water everywhere. What the hell we pay these taxes for? Don't even make sense.
Oh, indeed. That's a common thing. And, the whole quote unquote first world could have that discussion. Just whatever language for the country you're in. But, that story don't change. But, this is so sad. I wish this wouldn't have come to me so quickly when I started thinking about it. But that's the number one motivator in the coronavirus outbreak. Cost, money, revenue, survivability. Not of your life, of your livelihood. And it's sad, we'll see if it gets any improved, if this is going to be the driving factor. Will it be faster? And who will it really benefit? Will poor people stop dying? Or will rich people stop dying? That's got to be a big question.
We need the rich people to start dying. Guillotines could help expedite that process.
Well, I mean, there could be some sort of suggestion, like if your net worth is above $75 million and you test positive for COVID, then you get the guillotine treatment.
Or you could give all your money back to the people, like do some good and live. Live like everyone else. Most of them would probably be like, give me the guillotine.
I think they would, yeah.
You could be just like the rest of us, or you can get your head chopped off. I'll chop it off, fool. I'm not going to do this. Yeah. Oh, here's another thing, man. Off the subject, but still kind of on it. These assholes on Twitter and everywhere else are talking about, they're saying stuff like, that's what the Chinese people get for eating weird stuff like bats. That anyone who does that, why do we have to suffer for their weird stuff they're doing over there? And some people are all kinds of terrible racist stuff about eating bats. But I would bet you money these people ain't vegetarians saying this, which begs me to ask them the question: what about those weird things white people eat in Europe, like cows that gave them mad cow disease? And what about the weird shit white people and everybody else eats in the United States, like pigs that gave the swine flu? They don't think about all that. Just bats because of this. You're eating animals, and those animals ain't taken care of, and they're, just for profit again. You know what I mean? You're taking a life for profit. You're taking a happy animal, putting him in a fucking cage as he grows up, and then slaughter him and then feed him to people. That's not, I don't know, man. It's become this whole, they're not grazing in the grass. They're not happy before they die. They're locked in a cage that they can't move 2 inches. That shit should be illegal too, for profit. Everything here we're talking about that's horrible is because capitalism needs to pay their shareholders. Profits above everything. Profits above people.
Yeah.
It's sickening, man. And they got these assholes out here supporting it every way they can. Because they might be the next billionaire.
Yeah, okay, sure. Well, I mean, I've told people already that I expect on a pure numbers basis and perhaps even on a percentage basis, I expect the most deaths from COVID to come from the United States. Simply because there is no national plan, there's no minimum standards, there's no public direction on public health in the United States. So, and I mean, who's in charge of the supposed national COVID strategy?
Mike Pence, he's going to pray it away. I don't know what you're worried about.
Exactly. Like, you've got to be kidding me. This is like putting... Oh, no, I can't even come up with a bizarre metaphor for that. That is just too much.
It's like putting any fundamentalist science denying what do you call them, zealots in the in charge of anything that's like a pandemic. It's ridiculous, man. They don't even believe in this stuff. They believe that God's punishing somebody, or this is because God's wrath, or God knows what he's doing best, or let's pray.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, what kind of message does this send to the rest of the world where the person they put in charge may see it as an opportunity to enable the Lord's work? Like, this is insane. Absolutely insane. This is like putting Spiro Agnew in charge of the anti-media task force. Like, give me a break.
That caught me late. I was typing.
I mean, give me a break. He probably sees it as an opportunity to prove things and to be selective about where relief goes. That's the scariest thing. When you have a neo-fascist government, when there is an instance of mass aid being required, what are the decisions based on? I mean, will we see more aid go to Republican districts than Democratic districts? It will get that petty. And that's the last thing that should be happening. But it will. The thing is, when I see somebody
and wider
like
districts rather than non-white districts as well. Richer districts instead of poorer districts. Yeah, it all works like that.
Well, rich districts are Republican for the most part anyway, except for California and New York.
Yeah. So are some of the poorest districts.
Yeah. And the other thing that has not been getting a lot of attention, but will in the coming days, is what they're calling asymptomatic transmission. They're saying now that research, because of the nature of doing this research, it's going to take, a few weeks, maybe a little more to get more information. But they're seeing now that people who don't have the symptoms may be
carriers.
They are infecting people at a higher rate than people who do have it themselves visible.
See? Now we need to be watching the people who ain't coughing and be whooping their asses on the buses.
See, that's
I seen a video of two people fighting over toilet paper in a grocery store, man. How insane is that?
I don't get it, man. I really don't get it at all. I just don't see how that's a priority in any way, shape, or form. None.
And if it's like a 6-pack of toilet paper, go buy it and share it. Split the cost. I don't know. Why you gonna fight over it? It's fucking toilet paper.
Back
in the days, they didn't have toilet paper. Imagine that.
Oh, well, that's caveman shit, man. We don't worry about that.
Right after cavemen. That was the first invention after fire, of course, was toilet paper.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm looking at, well, I mean, this is kind of related to this. This started with this bullshit 4chan stuff about the Gates Foundation made Corona. So, I mean, okay, here we go. Strap yourselves in. But, I mean, I'm looking at something.
I keep seeing these weird conspiracy theories about Corona was made by this or that. Yeah, that's probably where it came from, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm looking at an article that was written by Elizabeth Cohen, and it says, in an article 2 weeks ago in the New England Journal of Medicine, Bill Gates, co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, expressed concern about the spread of the disease by people who haven't yet developed symptoms, who are only a bit sick. And then a quote, there is also strong evidence that it can be transmitted by people who are just mildly ill or even pre-symptomatic. That means COVID-19 will be much harder to contain than the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome or Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, SARS, which were spread much less efficiently and only by symptomatic people. So the most recent things we've seen similar to this have been a very direct transmission route. It's only people who were sick that made other people sick. And right now, that's probably not the model that we have here. So I think this is going to create a lot of paranoia. Like, we need help with that. But I think this might be mass media's way of starting to plant the seed that if you're told to stay home, you should stay home. I think that's what this is directing the conversation towards. And then the article goes on to talk about the recent big shoot up, the outbreak in Massachusetts, which was, kind of like a fire. It just blew up. And then they talk about Italy, of course, because Italy is being used in every article if they want to scare people. So, this is the thing. Media has never had as much power for where this conversation goes than they have today. And if they're motivated about revenue and having the different story, where does that line fall about what's truthful and what's sensational? It could be as hard as ever to discern fake news.
Fake
and
news.
This is what is potentially a life and death issue. So if media starts lying about this, there are no sacred cows anymore at all on anything. Again, all related to who can make the most money the quickest.
Well, I mean, they don't even have to lie. They just have to give their talking points and not give other points and bend the truth a little bit, because they all have their corporate overlords who are beholden to some political party, or some political party is beholden to them, and that's how it works. So they're gonna push their points the way they want and frame it a way that makes the people that aren't really on their side look bad, and the people that are on their side look good. And all those people are probably all really on the same side. So that's politics
the side of
the
money.
United States. Exactly. Like, look at the real quick. We're not going to get into this because I know it's not the subject, but look at the Democrats and Republicans, man. They're all the same. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, Bernie Sanders was going to maybe buy people some time. He wasn't going to do anything. He's full of crap. Look at his votes. Anytime a Democrat wants a war, the fool votes for it. Republican war, he votes against it. That just seems pretty partisan. He doesn't care about stopping war. He just wants to be partisan. Yeah, his big thing is he voted against Bush's war, but Bush was a Republican. If it was Obama, he'd vote for that war.
True.
He'd fund all that. So he's not anti-war. He's just a piece of shit liar like all the rest of them. But the thing is, now it's looking like Biden and Trump. You got the same guy. Two senile, old, racist, crazy, corporatist warmongers. Groper, yeah. And think about this. Joe Biden's so awesome. He's voted for every war, Republican or Democrat. He's like, bring him on. And then Trump, from what he said on Twitter, he seemed to be against Democratic wars and for Republican wars. So he's pretty much the opposite of Bernie Sanders, war-wise. But Biden loves them all.
Well, you know, I've always said that Canada is between 5 and 8 years behind the U.S. politically. But I think
my God, you need a time machine.
I think this time the U.S. is going to be taking a page from Canada's book. And just like Harper was so evil, Harper had to go, and we got Trudeau, who is nothing but a good-looking, younger, hipper neo-fascist.
That's what we called Obama.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, Trump now is your Harper. And Biden.
I thought Bush was. Okay.
And Biden is your Trudeau. And that's the difference between the U.S. You
Wait
take
a minute.
the characters and add 20 years to their age.
Yeah, but Trudeau's like a lot cooler looking than Biden, and he's more sensible, and he can play the game more like Obama.
Okay, but
Biden's gonna be
But compare Biden to Trump, and it looks like Trudeau to Harper.
You're right, but it's so terrible.
I mean, this whole Bloomberg thing sealed the deal for me. He came in there and threw away hundreds of millions of dollars on a campaign that was only counted on to be a matter of weeks long. And as soon as he got enough attention, he went to Biden.
You know who else I think is going to endorse Biden?
Who?
Bernie Sanders. I mean, he endorsed Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
After she cheated him out of his first time around.
Yeah.
Or that time around. He's going to endorse Biden. He's a Democrat.
Yeah.
He can say he's a socialist all he wants, but he's a corporatist, capitalist Democrat. He says a lot of good things that he probably wouldn't be able to do too much of. You know, especially with the Republican Senate.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know, man.
I mean, you know, I rarely talk American politics. I really try to not pay attention because I just don't need that kind of fucking stupidity in my life. But, you know, I take a look at what's in the White House now. And I can understand where people would be willing to vote for just about anything else, just to get rid of that fucking clown. And I get that. And I think, yeah, that's a risk that I would probably take if I was an American. But I take a look at the Democratic nomination process, and I thought, would it be any different this time? No, it's absolutely the same. The DNC has done stuff to fuck with the legitimacy already, and it's not nearly as much of a surprise as it was last time. So, you know, I mean, that
But
just proves the theory. Once you do it once and nothing happens, free game, you know?
But to the untrained eye, wouldn't you think that maybe that seemed like the Democrats wanted Trump elected as well? Like, it seems like they've been doing everything in their power, finding the worst possible candidates, going against anything the people want, you know, giving a little bit of rhetoric and then backing down like those congresswomen do. Like, abolish ICE doesn't mean abolish ICE. Abolish ICE means reform ICE.
And reform means nothing.
I'm a socialist, but I believe in the power of capitalism. Yeah, things like that, you know. So,
well, those are people of no real consequence anyway. But I mean, I think what it reveals is how long this bullshit has been going on in both parties. Like, this is the way business is done. There's nothing that can be done in under 20 years that's going to change how these parties operate. Absolutely nothing. They're both the same party with two
Bing,
different
that's
brands.
it.
And
You win.
they are the party for money, not people, not anything except money. And in a time like this, those are the ground rules. This ain't going to be a pretty game to watch. You know, it's sad. It's a perversion, but it's also been a long road to get here. And I don't see why everybody's surprised that this is what's at the end of the road. Like, 40 million clues weren't enough for you?
I'm going to say something that people probably hate me for, but as everybody know, I want to see society just crumble and go back to the people. I don't want these rulers and fascist authoritarian assholes running shit anymore. But I want to be honest, I don't watch these debates. I don't care about your stupid elections because you're just picking another guy that's going to keep doing the same shit in a different way. But I might watch these debates if it's Biden and Trump, man. Because to see two old senile dudes yelling at each other, maybe one of them will throw something at the other one. You know how awesome that would be?
Or maybe one of them will have a stroke and drop dead.
Maybe both of them at the same time because they were throwing stuff at each other. Maybe they'll get in a fist fight. I don't know, dude. How much you putting a lot of crazy on that stage right there.
Well, I mean, this is something else you have to consider too. And this is directly from the brain trust at the DNC, in my opinion. For whatever reason, Trump has control of a proportion of Americans who always vote because that's the generation they're from and that's what they think is their civic duty. So let's get our own really old, bad history, dementia-ridden clown and see if they'll like our clown better than Trump. You fight fire with fire. And I think there's a certain amount of that going on with Biden here. What's important is who Biden would pick for VP.
Oh, my God. I'm hearing terrible things like Kamala Harris, the cop.
No. No. I think it should be Warren.
He would never pick Warren.
Well, I think that would be the strongest ticket because they need the woman vote.
But Joe Biden is pretty problematic with women just like Trump is.
Well, Elizabeth Warren is no fucking wallflower. You know, I don't think...
You think she's going to have to slap him?
I'm sure she would if it was in a private situation.
See, now we're getting into another cool thing. Somebody slapped Joe Biden down.
I mean...
I just want this debate to be like some kind of Jerry Springer mayhem show. I don't know. I just think it could be... Like you're giving us the same guy twice. Who cares? The idiots are all going to side with one or the other depending on which party they bow down to, which cult they're in, whatever. They don't even see how terrible these people are. So, yeah, at least we can get a comedic debate out of it or something. I don't know. It's like there's nothing else good going to come out of this shit. Nothing.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because then that's another parallel to 2016 because in 2016, the media narrative was being driven exclusively by Fox for the most part. Everybody else was following, either jumping on the bandwagon or trying to counter. And that had a lot to do with even how the debates went because the media has too much power. But with the Bloomberg industry now having a direct interest in what's going to happen, and with the sliding of Fox is not the same powerhouse today it was 4 years ago. So, again, I see this as part of the DNC fight fire with fire. Bloomberg is just as strong as Rupert Murdoch these days. So, I think, it's not what you want to see, but as far as did the DNC learn from 2016? Yeah, they did. But what they learned is we have to do what they do, which doesn't really help the problem. But, them's the rules of the war.
Well, man, it's just stupid. It's so stupid. It's like, come on. People should be out in the streets tearing shit up, dragging people out of their offices. But no, they're just gonna just choose one and throw all their support behind them.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is working into a perfect storm with COVID and an American election coming. This could be, every 4 years it seems we say, oh, well, this is going to be, we've never seen an election like this. Well, 2020, I'll guarantee we've never seen an election like this. I mean, what if the debates are no audience because of COVID? What if the rallies are canceled? What's going to happen then? It's going to be up to media who the American people hear, because they won't be able to go and see either candidate live in their city. This is going to change everything. And who knows how it's going to go. It will save media. Print media is saved if people are forced to stay indoors. It may be a resurgence of the newspaper industry by having millions of people die.
We'll have to see how long this thing goes out, too. I thought, on the other hand, he could use this to declare martial law and do stuff if it gets bad enough.
But that would kill industry. And money is more important than people. If people want to go out and kill each other, well, as long as they buy a Big Mac before they pull out their gun, that's no problem.
Yeah, but I mean, he can just do it to get an election kicked off and then come back with it and be like, oh, back to normal.
Well, that is always a possibility.
I'm your dictator forever.
It's a long way to go before that. I mean, it's not really out of the realm of possibility.
But who would stop him? Who would even do anything? Would the Democrats be like, he's a bad guy? And everybody else would be like, he has a good reason for doing this. Like, come on.
Okay, but let's look at what's happening already, though. We have the wife of the Canadian Prime Minister tested positive. We have Jair Bolsonaro tested positive, which is a good thing, in my opinion. You never know. You can't say it's impossible that Trump will be dead from it before the election.
Wouldn't that be ironical?
It's possible. This is the thing. And like I said, pandemics don't give a shit about economics.
He looked pretty haggard on his last little conference talking about this. I don't know if you saw it. But he goes up and down sometimes.
In my opinion, he looks like Hitler in the spring of 45 anyway. He's just held together with dope and masking tape. That's it. Because there ain't much there to fucking begin with.
Yeah. He's like a ventriloquist dummy for Stephen Miller and a few others.
He's a ventriloquist dummy that got thrown out of a bus window and rolled down the highway for a few miles.
Yeah, but there's a lot of bad people around Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Kushner, Miller,
again,
Ivanka, Melania, Pence.
Again, it just reminds me of the last days of the Nazi regime. Look who was around Hitler. The same goddamn thing. A bunch of psychopathic bastards.
We need to make sure Trump always has a gun near him.
I bet you they don't have a gun anywhere near that fucking idiot.
Why? I think he should
Because
have the
he's the
most
meal
access to
ticket.
guns. That would be cool.
Because he's the meal ticket. That's why.
Trump should have guns everywhere in his office. Everywhere. Like anywhere he reaches, he could get at a gun. He needs to be safe, man. That's the only way. A Trump with a gun is the only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun in the White House.
Oh, shit.
And if it happened to be an accident or a suicide, oh well. It's the price you pay for security, okay?
Well, I wonder if it'll be like every U.S.-led state coup. I wonder if Trump does die, we'll see the footage of his bedroom with the red silk robe and the copy of Mein Kampf and the child porn, just like every other dictator suddenly has.
No, he'll have a lot of McDonald's in there, and they'll have to try to Photoshop that out to save the company from their reputation.
If they pay enough.
Yeah.
Okay, well, back to COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand that, yes, federal American politics is another pandemic, but we'll stick to COVID. How can the Tokyo Olympics go ahead? This seems like the most insane decision.
Are they going ahead with it, really?
Well, so far, the Neo-Emperor Abe in Japan has said that it's not even worth a response. Of course they're going ahead.
Oh, I didn't see that. I mean, they've closed down most of the sports here, haven't they? Like in the U.S.?
Yeah, sports leagues are closed in North America, but in Japan, the most profitable and most popular entertainment in the entire country, more popular than sumo, New Japan Pro Wrestling, suspended their shows almost 2 weeks ago already. So for this clown to get in front of the world and say, of course the Olympics are going ahead in what, 3 months? I don't know, buddy. I mean, there's been some reports about how one of the first 3 or 4 cases was South Korea. And yet South Korea has done supposedly a very, very good job about containing and controlling. So, again, South Korea is not exactly the U.S. or Canada. They can get pretty strong arm when they need to. But it has been done. Japan? I don't know, man. I mean, what's going to be the reaction, give it another month, of Japanese people to saying, oh, yeah, these people from all over the world, sure, come on in for a couple weeks and shit and cough all over the place. No problem.
When is the Olympics?
I'm not sure. I think it's June.
Yeah, I doubt this is going to be all the way over by June, but maybe it will. Who knows?
Maybe
they have the best
scientists
on it, and they'll be like, we're going to eradicate it within 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, the number one brand in the world is the 5 rings of the Olympics. So maybe if the IOC comes up with a couple $100 million to throw at it, yeah, maybe they can come up with some sort of selective vaccination for all people on the Olympic teams, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's conceivable they could play in front of empty stadiums. That's already happening too around the world. We'll see.
Don't know. I'm not a sports fan. I hate the Olympics. Like, I didn't even know they were that popular. I thought it was just some shit they force on everybody's city, and the people who complain and they say, too bad.
No, the Olympics is the most powerful advertising event, even more than the World Cup.
Wow. Who would have thought?
That's the only reason the Olympics are still around, man. The money that generates. Because there's
sports.
nobody has made a profit hosting the Olympics for 30 years.
Really?
Yep. Oh, fuck.
Nobody's
Brazil
made a
lost their
profit.
shorts, man. Brazil got hosed.
Oh, I thought they benefit from it. Then why even do it?
Because you're part of the global game. It's your turn. You host the Money Gorge Festival.
I would.
Now
I would
we
support
all
it.
make our money and split, and you're stuck with the debt.
Yeah, I would support it if they did that in lieu of wars. Like, oh, what is that? People run in a straight line or around in a circle, and whoever's the fastest, they win. Will concede to whatever they want. No one has to die. That would be better. Like, then the Olympics would be cool. They serve no real purpose right now. I don't understand why they exist.
Well, if we came to that understanding, then the anti-doping agency would be disbanded tomorrow.
Anyway, yeah, you got anything else on this coronavirus thing that we didn't talk about or missed or something? I'm racking my brain. I can't think of anything else really.
Yeah, okay. I've got a dark point to make.
Okay, good. That's a nice way to end on a dark note.
Where I am, despite it not being a real issue yet, despite it having a good chance of it not being a real issue yet, between the place I work and the general public, I am in one of the top 2 groups that are likely to get it. I am a type 1 diabetic, and I am over 50 years of age. So, good for me.
Put a bandana or a mask or something around your face when you're working with people, and keep some sanitizer lotion and gloves maybe.
Well, at work, because I'm the veteran, my partner is what we call a starter. He is a first-year apprentice, and I look at him and I cannot remember ever being that young. And he's a young kid. He's in good shape. He's got a great attitude. So that's who I spend 8 hours a day with. And he's probably in the lowest likelihood to get it. So that's probably about as good as I could expect at work.
Make him wear a mask and gloves too, just in case.
It's more likely that the job will get shut down before we get to that point. Everybody will be told that, that's it. We're shutting her down for a while.
Go home for a month. We'll make sure you get paid anyway, and we'll see you in 30 days.
Well, I mean,
is that the Canadian way, or is that just
yes,
no? Oh, good.
No, the Canadian government has said that there will be emergency employment insurance for people who lose their employment because of being told to stay home. And I think
Nice.
a lot of projects and a lot of big, like I said, the client where I'm working is a public university. Of course, the government has a lot of construction projects going on. I think everybody's waiting for the government to come out with details, how quickly this money will be available, how it will be available. If they get that out, I would expect a rash of projects to be suspended.
That's cool, though. I mean, in a way.
Well, that's the way it's supposed to work. That's what a government is there for.
Even a crappy Canadian government is better than a quote-unquote great United States, the greatest United States government in history, right?
That's for sure, eh?
The greatest president in history, the greatest economy in history. Everything's the greatest in history, and all you got to do is look historically and see, no, it's not.
The chosen one.
Some people think just because they say something 1,000 times makes it so.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, it was good to do another show, Glenn, with you.
Yep.
And it's good to have Celeb Scoder back. Gooby Gobby, one of us. I had to read this. But anyway, yeah. guess we're gonna go, and we'll be back when we back. I don't know when that's gonna be. And then yeah, just stay tuned. We may be back next week, we may not. I don't know what's happening. So thanks again, Glenn and Nolan. If you're listening, feel better. We miss you on here. And thanks to everybody listening, and thanks to Celeb Scolder in the chats, and we'll catch everybody later on.